Hey guys, today is a non-beauty related video, but in advance of the Great American Total Solar Eclipse that is happening on Monday, I'm sure you've been hearing about it by now, even if you're not into astrology or astronomy or things like that. It's been all over the news. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the energy that I've been experiencing between the lunar eclipse that happened on August 7th and the solar eclipse, which will happen on Monday. I'm filming this on Tuesday the 15th. In particular, I had quite an acute experience that I made some Instagram stories about. Some of the responses that I got to it were interesting, and it's part of a broader narrative that I haven't talked a lot about on here, but I'm going to touch on it here. So in a nutshell, the new moon lunar eclipse in Aquarius just made me very, very tired. I was quite fatigued for about 3 days. That's very, very normal for me around new moons. In some ways, it's like I feel like new moons suck all the energy out of the room. For me anyway, I know that everyone experiences these things differently, and full moons tend to make me a little bit like crazy and just feel off. It's like they stir things up as opposed to wipe me out, but that varies as well. The point of this video is to sort of share how intense I feel like the energy has been this month, but in particular this window between the lunar eclipse and the solar eclipse, and how it is manifested for me. So on Friday, I was feeling pretty good. I had recovered from the new moon fatigue. One of the symptoms that I had been noticing this past week was I was having a lot of excessive watering in my right eye. It was like there was like something draining through my right eye. Now, I've had this symptom before in my left eye. So a lot of times, and I had commented about this on Instagram as well, a lot of times I'll notice the physical manifestations of energy shifts on the left side of my body, but for some reason during this cycle, I've been noticing more movement on the right side of my body, which probably has all of its own meanings. I've also been getting very, very into the medical and health applications of astrology. That's like a topic for another video. I had been noticing I guess like some sinus congestion, and it was sort of like switching sides and my eye was draining. And then I was out on Friday night, and over the course of the evening, my ears started plugging up like pretty bad. And this never really happens to me. I could just tell that I had like a lot of stuff moving. By the time I had to like bow out of the evening, my right ear was like completely plugged up. I felt like I was, how can I like articulate this in a way that will not make me sound weird to you? It's like I was present, but not present. I was almost kind of not like really out of body. I guess I was basically just very ungrounded. I felt like I was here, but not here. So I got in an Uber and went home. It was almost like I was just not living my life, but I was still there. It was just like such a strange feeling. My right ear is all plugged up. I have a bad headache. There's just like something crazy going on. So I go to bed, and I woke up at like 3 o'clock. I think I got in bed at midnight, and I woke up again at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. My right ear was still like completely plugged up, and I was like, don't panic, like it's going to be fine. You've been through this before, which I'll touch on briefly in a minute. And sure enough, I woke up, I think at 7 or 8 o'clock. My ear had drained, and that feeling of being here but not here had dissipated slightly, but I was still sort of out of it. And that's when I made some Instagram stories. Guys, something so strange is going on. I just feel so weird. Like, I don't know. I don't know if it's like the energy between eclipses or what is happening to me. I'm just having all of these like really strange symptoms. I'm not sick, I don't think. But I'm having just like a lot of really weird congestion, like my ear, almost like vertigo. Yeah, like I don't know. I don't even know why I'm making these stories. I got up early to come to Whole Foods and like knock out groceries for the week. I have to go home and like do a deep clean, laundry, edit my video for tomorrow. But I don't know. I'm like out of sorts.
I don't even know how to describe it. I kind of want to make a video on it because it's almost like have you ever seen the movie Waking Life? It's like I'm here, but I'm not here. I feel so weird.
A bunch of people wrote to me saying that they were having sort of similar congestion issues. I didn't go into this much detail in the Instagram stories, but I was basically like, something very strange is happening. And my presentation of these things publicly has tended to be pretty divorced from any sort of larger framework about what's happening. But I ended up getting some messages, both of people echoing similar symptoms. So it seems like the energy right now has stirred up a lot of head sinus congestion issues for people. That seems to be quite a common thread. Then I also got some messages from people basically saying, are you sure that what you're going through is not, you know, some sort of spiritual shift or awakening or whatever you want to call it? I will also say at the outset, I really dislike all of the language and baggage that comes with discussing spiritual growth or awakening or development, but I'm going to use some of it in this video. So the short answer to those comments is that yes, I think that that's exactly what was going on. And it's something that I have been going through consciously or consciously participating in for, I guess, probably the last year and a half. I don't talk very openly about my spiritual life on here. I mean, I guess there's a lot of reasons. It is a very sort of like personal and private thing. And also, I have a hard time making declarative statements about anything related to spiritual growth and development, because as anyone that is consciously participating in their spiritual expansion, it changes so quickly. Like your perspective changes. Like even probably after I'm done making this video, I'll probably feel, you know, differently about it, or I'll look at it from a different angle or a different layer, like tonight or tomorrow or whenever I post this video. So that's a reason that I haven't really talked super openly about my spiritual progress over the last year or the shifts that I've been going through. And then also, I remember when I first started going through this consciously. I say consciously because energy moves in your physical body and my physical body in the world, whether or not you're consciously aware that that's like what's happening. You don't have to be consciously participating in energy shifts for them to affect you. But I think when you are consciously aware of and participating in them, or you have that framework as sort of a valence over your life experience, it seems to like intensify physical symptoms in a way. I remember the first time I went through something called ascension flu. Any of you that are familiar with this jargon and framework will know exactly like what that means, but it's basically a very common spiritual growth experience where it feels like you have the flu, but there's actually no active virus or bacteria in your body. You could be retracing a past illness, or your body is just kind of like needing to shut down and recalibrate to different frequencies. I remember talking to someone, explaining to her what I was going through under this framework of, you know, ascension or growth. And the response was, you know, or you could just be sick. And I was like, well, I guess that's a way to shut down a conversation. And so ever since that, I've kind of been keeping a lot of what I've been going through to myself. I mean, there are quite vibrant online communities around all of this. Ascension symptoms, light body activation, Kundalini awakening, they're all sort of different but parallel ideas for the same thing that's happening. I'm rambling a bit. I want to bring it back to what I went through on Friday and Saturday as being quite a significant energy shift. I've gone through these before, but this one was just it was very interesting to me because I sort of knew exactly what was happening. And when you go through enough of these sort of physical energy shifts, the physical manifestations of these energy shifts, you have a totally different like approach to it. Instead of being, well, it's a work in progress, right? But instead of being fearful and thinking you're dying or wanting to go to the doctor, you just kind of ride it out. And I tried really hard this last round to not really look at it as being a positive or a negative experience, but it was just kind of like neutral, almost like a Buddhist approach to anything, the coming and going. Like it something arises and then it passes away. And after that energy seemed to clear and reintegrate into my body, I actually felt amazing, which is quite common. Like, you will go through quite an intense detoxification or healing reaction type of experience, and then the energy sort of integrates and you'll feel better than ever. But it's only then for another shift to come along. So I'm sort of like bracing myself for the solar eclipse. I have no idea how I'm going to feel or what I'm going to experience. Maybe nothing, maybe parallel to what I've been going through. But, you know, I bring all this up because it seems like, at least what I gathered from the responses that I got through Instagram when I was doing these stories, being like, something very strange is going on. I knew what was happening, but it's not like I'm sitting on Instagram stories being like, I'm going through another energy shift and my Kundalini energy is activating my third eye and crown, which is honestly what that shift sort of felt like to me. The energy was like all up here. So I think increasingly I'm getting more comfortable talking about that part of my life because it seems like there are people that are also on that page. So in a nutshell, I mean, basically what's happening with all of these, I consider them all to be different names for the same thing that's happening: Kundalini awakening, light body activation, ascension. All that they are referring to, in my opinion, is your frequency or your vibration is increasing and expanding. I mean, I guess you could also call it the path to enlightenment, but that, again, everything sounds so loaded to me, and a lot of this is just laden with so much baggage, and the New Age spiritual community just has so many issues, as I'm sure you're probably aware. And so in a lot of ways, I feel like, you know, you sort of have to chart your own course in this brave new world. I kind of made this video because I would like to hear others of you that are into this sort of thing or approaching the energy and the astrology of August in this way. I think it's very, very exciting. I've been going through lots of big revelations and turning points. If you would be interested in hearing more about my spiritual growth and development, I'm kind of open, I guess, to sharing more of it. So I think that's all for now. I have to run to work. So I will see you guys on Sunday, the day before the Great American Solar Eclipse. I heard on the news this morning that there has not been a path of totality across the entire continental United States since 1919, I believe, 1918 or 1919. So it is a pretty rare event. I only get to see it partially in Boston, but regardless, we all get to experience the energy of a total solar eclipse. So also Mercury's retrograde. Yes, I know. Lots going on, all for our growth and benefit, I think. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys very soon.
Okay, like one more quick thought. I'm still in my car, though I am at a different location. I've been listening to Sade all morning. I always felt like the energy of her music is so like interesting and unique. It's always just felt so different to me, besides the fact that she just has like such an incredible voice. So I had this thought about her music that has sort of been percolating for a while, but it just sort of like struck me what it might be or what it feels like it is. I think she sings from a place of like trans lifetime knowing or experience, if that makes sense. Like her love songs, to me, they're about love that's like through different incarnations. That may not be of interest to some of you, but it definitely is of interest to me. And so yeah, that was just kind of like a random thought that I was thinking today, and helps me understand why I love her so much.